When it comes to choosing a school, parents who want the best education for their students look for academic excellence, skilled teachers, a safe school that encourages their values. Students want a school with competitive athletics, unique opportunities, and friendships that last a lifetime. Fairfield Christian Academy, the place where parents and students agree. Enrolling now at fairfieldchristianacademy.com.
In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Feyko, a weekly program here on LSN Television. We're also carried by a number of radio affiliates here in Lancaster. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. The program is actually produced here at Fairfield Christian Academy. I appreciate the students here. Our executive producer, Kelly Roberts, behind the scenes, lining the guests up and getting a lot of good questions together. And certainly I appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. We've got a great program. We got with us Sgt Feyko, and good to see you, Sarge.
Good to see you, Sheriff. How are you today?
I am doing well, and it's been actually a few years since you've been on.
Yes, it's been 2 years.
Wow. Well, before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Jerry Feyko. I'm a second shift relief sergeant at the Sheriff's Office. My duties include patrol and jail supervision. Married, 2 kids, 25 years of marriage, and I've been on the Sheriff's Department about 16 years.
16 years and worked in a host of different areas, haven't you?
Oh yeah, patrol, jail. I was the weights and scales commercial vehicle enforcement officer for several years before I got promoted. Now,
for some time, you've been working on a product called Narcan, right?
Correct. About a year and a half ago, I started following a trend in law enforcement. It started in Ohio. It started in Cuyahoga County, and there's a medication that was called Narcan that reverses the effects of heroin. If you overdose on heroin or opiates, this can I don't want to say magically, but it can almost instantly change it from being overdosed to being back to normal.
And so how much of a problem is that within the state of Ohio and within Fairfield County as far as the overdoses?
Well, the last statistics we have as far as overdoses in Ohio are from 2013. In 2013, we had over 2,000 overdose deaths in Ohio. If you were to crunch the numbers on that, it comes out to about 1 every 4 hours. So in Cuyahoga County, where the Narcan Project Dawn started, they've saved, in the last year and a half, I believe they saved over 90 people's lives that had overdosed.
So how exactly would this work? I mean, I know today a lot of the people in the medical field have it on the ambulances and things.
Correct. The legislators in Ohio decided that the heroin problem had reached an epidemic proportion in Ohio, and they decided that since we can't stop the flow of heroin into the state, they wanted to make sure that we had some resource in which we could save lives. Since the product Narcan was already out there and has no known side effects, they decided to give it to police officers, volunteer medics, and those type of people, as long as they were willing to report every time they used it so they could keep accurate statistics.
Now, how is that going to be actually introduced into the sheriff's office?
Well, I've been working with the executive director of the ADAMH, Rhonda Myers, and they secured a grant and they're going to purchase the Narcan for us. And then we're going to have the deputies trained. Some of them will be trained hands-on, some of them will be trained through the Attorney General's EOPATA courses. We'll receive the dosages of the Narcan, we'll put them in the cruisers and probably in the jails, and so we'll have them available to us.
You know, and one of the things a lot of people probably don't understand, I think this is particularly true in the county, maybe not so much in the city, but if there's a medical emergency, many times a deputy is going to be the first person there on something like this.
Correct. This isn't going to replace medics, and we're not trying to do the medics' jobs. This is more for the extreme emergencies. Like we get a lot of calls where they're called signal nines, where we don't know what's going on. It's just they call in and they're either screaming or hysterical, they hang up on us and we have no idea what's going on. And then when we arrive, it could be any number of things. Sometimes it turns out it's an overdose. When you arrive at the overdose and then you have to call for a medic, you know, you're looking at probably 10, sometimes even longer, 10, 15 minutes before a medic can get to the scene.
Yeah, especially in some of the townships where you actually have volunteer fire service and they have to come from home and then get the...
Correct. And a lot of the smaller fire departments, if they are already on a run, you know, they may be back in Lancaster already and they have to tone out another fire department to come and take their run for them.
So is there any, so this is a nasal spray, right?
Correct. This is it looks like a syringe, but it doesn't have a needle on it. It's got a little round tip at the end of it. You put the medication inside it, you stick it in the side of their nose, you spray it just like a nasal spray, and if they are overdosing on heroin, it'll reverse the effects, or any opiate. If they're not, if it wasn't heroin that they overdosed on, then it won't have any effect on them, you know, negative or positive. It's a neutral medication.
My son-in-law, who is a Columbus firefighter, and he's talked about, they've used it a number of times, and some of the reaction when they come out of this, they can be pretty violent.
Yes, and I've heard of them being upset that they were brought back and that they lost their heroin high. About 6 weeks ago, Deputy Luke Williams and I were on a call in Bremen where a young lady had overdosed. And we were the first ones on the scene. We went in there. Her breathing, she was taking about a breath every 35, 40 seconds. And the medics were staged down the street. They came in, they administered Narcan to her. And I mean, almost instantly, she started breathing again. She woke up. She wasn't happy that she woke up that way, but it did save her life. And then, of course, she was taken to the hospital after that for further treatment.
And does this work on the respiratory system, or how does this product work? Or, I know you're not a doctor, but...
No, basically it just has it just completely reverses the effects of the opiate. The opiate produces a high. When this medication interacts with the opiate, it completely reverses the opiate back to having no effect on the body.
And is this something that's also used in other police agencies, or?
Yes, there's quite a few agencies in Ohio now that are using it. Like I mentioned, Cuyahoga County, Lorain Police Department, Ross County has it, Ross County Sheriff's Office. So it's more and more agencies are becoming involved in it.
And I think when we think about the drug overdoses, and especially with the heroin or the opiates, what happens so many times is the person gets they're taking 10 pills a day or 15 pills, or they're shooting so much, and then there's an interruption. They're in treatment, or they go to jail and they come back out, and now their tolerance level has dropped just like ours. They take it and they overdose.
Right. That was one of the problems probably in 2013 was probably the most overdoses that we had. But like you said, that was about the same time that the pill mills had been shut down in southern Ohio, so heroin became the drug of choice. And then after they got out of jail or whatever, that they would try to have their normal dosages, and it would cause them to overdose.
So being out there on the road every night, have you seen any? Well, you've seen quite a number of shifts since you've been with the sheriff's office, haven't you? I would think that probably when you joined, it was unusual to see heroin or opiates in our county.
Yeah, cocaine was really big when I first started.
Okay.
And then it kind of went to meth, and then it went to heroin, and it's been staying in the heroin for the last probably 5 or 6 years. Actually, they said, I believe since 2009, that the number of accidental deaths from heroin supersedes the accidental deaths from car crashes.
And I don't think that, at least in my career, I've seen a product that people become addicted to so quickly as they do with the opiates and heroin. And the sad reality is it's very difficult to get well once you go down this route, or to get off this stuff.
It seems that a lot of them reach out for help, and they relapse, and they have to keep going. It's a struggle for them every day to actually be able to get free from it.
And again, when we have these folks, and I know as a relief sergeant, you're in the jail some, so many people within the jail come in and they're addicted, they're in poor health, and it's very problematic.
Yes, and then our big thing is try to get them past the 24, 48 hours of where they're coming down from it. It's a challenge at times.
And when we talk about learning how to use Narcan, it seems like it's pretty straightforward, and it's something that's not going to be very difficult for the deputies to master.
No, it's about a 13, 14-minute class online. The legislators were good enough to, when they passed the bill, that there's no liability for us. They're interested in trying to save lives, and even though these people are addicts, they still deserve the same treatment as everyone else.
And I guess the other question, we are going to get this without cost to the sheriff's office, and is it an expensive product if we don't have a grant or something like that?
Well, it's going to be about $50 a dose. So the grant's going to cover all that. There's so many agencies that are purchasing it now, the price of it actually went up, and the Attorney General has offered a rebate to us.
Okay. We're just about out of time. I'd like to have you back next week, because you've been also doing a lot with the body cameras.
Correct.
Doing a lot of research on that, and we're going to talk a lot about that. A lot of things going on in the media about police situations, and so you'll join us next week.
I'm looking forward to it, sir.
Sergeant Jerry Feyko with the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, great guy, does a terrific job day in and day out with the Sheriff's Office. Be sure to join us next week, because we're going to really talk a little bit about body cameras, some of the advantages, some of the disadvantages, and the Sergeant's been working on that for many, many months. Well, again, I appreciate each and every one of you that join us every week, and the students here at Fairfield Christian Academy. Our executive producer, Kelly Roberts, behind the scene. If you're out there driving, buckle up, be careful. Until next week, same place, God bless, and we'll see you right here.
Posting isn't private. Beware what you share.